What's up guys, Ruppy here, and welcome to week 5 of the UNPL. My Columbus Swoo are somehow still on a bit of a roll. We made some transactions before last week's game, and we managed to bounce back after our one and only loss of the season, again, by taking down Arrtz, who ripped through us last season with a Dragonette's Regidrago. Scissor and Iron Valiant managed to pull through, and we currently stand at a 3-1 record with a +4 differential. Not bad. I do believe that puts us in second place in the Naranja division, but obviously that differential is not too great, especially compared to some other teams in this list. And obviously anything could change at a moment's notice. We're kind of just chilling in the coastal biome right now here in the terrarium of Blueberry Academy. Figured bit of a beach day was in order to prepare for this week's game, because, well, if my team was initially drafted to be Pseudo-Sun, my opponent's team this week is definitely heavily Sun-based. So his team is basically what my team could have been if I leaned more into the Sun aspect. We are playing the Charlotte Chandelures, coached by ShadowStitch, who he may not be having the best of seasons, but I was there last season. I know how it feels. And while I'm not going to make it easy on you, for all I know, this could be the week you bounce back, because you definitely have a team that could potentially do it against me. Let's go ahead and leave the sunny beaches behind and flip on over to Pokemon Showdown, our team builder, our chalkboard. And let's actually get into what is going on this week. His team will be appearing off to the right, and it is as follows: Darkrai, Walking Wake, Gliscor, Hatterene, Venusaur, Torkoal, Empoleon, Rotom, Persian, and Hisui and Lilligant. His Tera captains are Venusaur, which can terrestrialize into a Grass, Fire, or Fairy type, Rotom, which can terrestrialize into a Ghost, Water, or Steel type, and Persian, who can terrestrialize into a normal Dark or Fairy type. Obviously, Sun is the big standout thing here, because as I said, if my team was initially drafted to be Pseudo-Sun before the changes I made after week 3, this is the very definition of a Sun team right here, for the most part. And you can definitely see it in his Sunsetter, who is a very familiar face. Yeah, Torkoal is on the opposing roster. So, when I drafted Torkoal, ShadowStitch ended up taking Ninetales as a Sunsetter. The moment I dropped Torkoal, when I finally abandoned the Pseudo-Sun aspect of this team to just go full steam ahead with what I've got now, he immediately picked Torkoal up, which I cannot fault him for, because Torkoal I do consider to be the superior Sunsetter compared to Ninetales. Sorry Ninetales, you were once the king/queen of the sun, depending on what gender you want to run your Ninetales as. But Torkoal can set rocks, it can spin them away. It is a very difficult to take down physical wall. What's not to like about it? Obviously, Sun does give ShadowStitch a lot of interesting toys to play with, too, because Walking Wake is a giant problem for my team, end of story. Walking Wake is just a problem in general, because the spec set just rips through my team fairly easily, unless I come prepared. And in the Sun, with a potential photosynthesis boost, that thing can become a nightmare to take down. Venusaur and Hisui and Lilligant, both being Chlorophyll Mons, they definitely pose a problem. Venusaur especially because it can Tera. Other obvious problems to note here. Hatterene is a Mon that I know all too well. I don't see him bringing Trick Room to this game, just because I feel it's kind of counterintuitive a bit to the Sun. But I'm not going to rule that option out to try to, as an emergency option, to flip the tables on me if necessary. And Hatterene as a whole is pretty much a nasty wall to take down regardless. I used it a lot in Gen 8, I know that Mon very well. Darkrai obviously has a lot going for it too. Fast, powerful special attacker. Finally got kicked from Ubers this gen, which is mind-blowing in and of itself to me. But even if the odds of it putting me to sleep are a lot less now because of the heavy nerf that Dark Void got, Darkrai is still a potential problem I need to be wary of. And obviously, Gliscor is and Nasty Wall in general. Arrtz proved that quite well last season when I played him. And I have had several issues with Gliscor throughout this generation, so this is going to be interesting to say the least. But enough about that. Let's get into what I'm cooking up this week to see if I can deal with this. And it starts with the only mon left on my team that can benefit from Sun, Cumulonimbus the Raging Bolt. Because this was one of the reasons I pursued Sun in the first place. I might as well bring it to a potential game where I could be facing Sun, right? Even if that's not the case and he doesn't end up bringing Torkoal, Raging Bolt can still function pretty well without a Photosynthesis boost. With an Assault Vest, it is pretty much a great sponge against a vast majority of this team. With Modest Nature, I can still hit hard, Photosynthesis boosting that. I've got Thunderclap for priority, which will definitely help in dealing with his Chlorophyll mons, and potentially Walking Wake as well. Discharge for potential Paras to try to slow down those things. Dragon Pulse for Dragon Stab, Dragon Tail to get rid of something on the off chance that he starts boosting and it gets out of control. Hopefully, ideally, Raging Bolt can take the hit, Dragon Tail it out, and then we are back to square one on that. With this investment, I actually do take even a Specs Draco from Walking Wake. I do need to be at full health, and I barely live, but that scenario does allow Bolt to still eat said Draco if the matchup should arise, and be able to fire back with a Dragon Pulse that will definitely rip Walking Wake apart, especially with a Photosynthesis boost. So, Raging Bolt operating as a really good Sun Sponge this week. Next on the docket is Arctic the Mamoswine, and I decided I didn't want to really play around this time with what we got going on here. I'm just going Adamant, Max, Choice Band, Mamoswine, because it hits like a truck. Ice Shard with Adamant, Max Attack, and the Choice Band. It annihilates Hisui and Lilligant. It takes a huge chunk out of Walking Wake because it's neutral. Gliscor certainly doesn't want to take it. Venusaur, if it doesn't Tera, or is at least not Tera Fire, it does not want to take a Banded Ice Shard from Mamoswine. Ice Go Crash for the slower things. Earthquake, on the off chance I can catch Venusaur switching in if it does go Tera Sun, or just to rip other things apart in general. Knockoff is just there to get rid of items if absolutely necessary. Arctic is really here to be my breaker this game, as well as be my answer to his fast Sun things, because in most scenarios, a Banded Ice Shard absolutely destroys them. Venusaur could have taken it if it was, say, 6 or 7 gen where Megas still existed and it was Mega Venusaur because it got thick fat, but that is not the case as of Gen 9. Who knows, maybe one day we'll get Megas back. Moving down the line, we have Wrath the Gyarados and Bulky DD. Somehow it works, somehow you gotta love it. So, Dragon Dance 3 attacks, I'm running a bulky set. Ideally I'm running Tera Flying as an option just so I have the Tera if I need it. But, odds are pretty good I'm probably not going to be using Tera on Gyarados this game. I may just let the Tera go. Just because of the fact of how it deals with its Chlorophyll mons. While Tera Flying does allow me to resist the Grass Stab for both Venusaur and Hisui and Lilligant, keeping my water typing helps me in other ways, namely because Hisui and Lilligant gets Triple Axle, I believe, now, and Venusaur could potentially go with the Sun Weather Ball, especially if it's Tera Fire. So that would allow me to be able to take those as neutral damage instead of... I mean, they'd still be neutral, but that would allow me to be able to take neutral from Triple Axle on Hisui and Lilligant and resist the Weather Ball from Venusaur, which ideally works out a lot better for me. I've got Intimidate just to lower the attack on things like Hisui and Lilligant, like a potential Gliscor, just so they don't get out of hand. I am aware that could be a potential bad idea if he brings in Polion, because it does have competitive, but the pros kind of outweigh the cons in my mind in this scenario. I've got Boots in case he gets rocks up. Ice Fang is for the Gliscor, as well as the Hisui and Lilligant and the Venusaur if I do not Tera. Obviously, Flying Tera Blast takes care of that. I've got Earthquake to be able to handle the likes of Torkoal and Empoleon if his Venusaur goes Tera Fire. I feel like Gyarados could put in some work this game, but ideally it is here mostly to sponge hits and just punch holes in his team to set up everything else. Namely Raging Bolt to some degree, but also definitely for the next mon on the docket, which is our Iron Valiant Lumity. I am once again running Choice Scarf. I want to find a week where I don't feel like I have to run Choice Scarf Iron Valiant, because I can do so much more with this mon. It's just, I keep finding myself in positions where Choice Scarf just feels like the call I have to make, just so I have something to outrun things that would normally outrun my team. That is also why the spread is the way it is. I'm going 248 speed because with a naive nature, a mixed attacking Scarf Iron Valiant will always outrun even Persian if it's Scarfed. I don't outrun Scarf Darkrai, which could be a problem, but it depends on the kind of Darkrai set he's running and what he's potentially locked himself into. Moonblast, Close Combat, or Stab, you know what they do with Valiant by now. Knockoff to get rid of items, because I really could not figure out what I wanted to put in that slot, so I figured the utility of Knockoff worked out better. And I threw Icy Wind on there for two reasons. One, to slow things down, because Hisui and Lilligant and Venusaur do still outrun a Scarf Valiant, even in the sun, unfortunately. But they do not want to take Icy Winds, well, unless Venusaur Terras, but that's a different story altogether. The speed drop would still help in putting a Valiant in a position where I could potentially just keep throwing off Icy Winds, or maybe outspeed them later if he stays in. And also, it hits Gliscor stupidly hard with max special attack investment. And yeah, I wanted to make absolutely sure I had the ice coverage necessary to threaten Gliscor, because Gliscor is a problem. I am tired of having that thing sit in here and be a defensive wall against me. I would very much like to get rid of it as soon as possible, ideally. Next on the docket, we have Hisui and Qwilfish, Mini-Star. Despite not getting any kills last week and ending up dying in the process, Mini-Star was crucial in our victory, because without those hazes to make sure Bronzong had no boost before Mini-Star went down, I don't think I could have broken Bronzong. That was a potential problem, so Mini-Star definitely proved its worth, and I'm hoping it does so again this week. With Eviolite and Intimidate, again, pros outweigh the cons here in regards to Empoleon. Allows me to be able to nerf his physical attackers a little bit. Barbarage to potentially poison and do double damage, as well as threaten the likes of Hatterene. Crunch for Dark-type stab. I've got Taunt and Spikes as well in my last two slots. Spikes, so I've got some form of hazards to potentially chip down his team and open the door for some of my mons. And Taunt, mostly because of Torkoal, to a lesser degree Gliscor, but definitely Torkoal, because I do not want that thing getting up rocks. I'm sorry. I have used Torkoal, I know what it's capable of, I also know that it has its flaws. And I'm going to exploit that just because Hisui and Qwilfish can't outrun it. I can get a taunt off to keep him from getting rocks up. And that will make my life significantly easier in that scenario. I'm running more special bulk than I am physical. Mostly to be able to try to take hits from Walking Wake better. To a lesser degree, the likes of Venusaur and Darkrai, but definitely Gliscor, or definitely Walking Wake. Because Wake is a colossal problem, and the more I set myself up to try to be able to handle hits from it, the better off I think I'm going to be. Which is also why I might have made an interesting play for my last slot. That being Assault Vest Skeledirge. Yup, Dolores is finally coming back, ready to sing her song. I got Unaware to be able to ignore the boosts, because he does have a lot of things that could potentially boost, sun or not. Torch Song is Fire Stab, and that gets boosted by the sun. Shadow Ball is Ghost Stab, which also allows me to threaten the likes of Hatterene and Rotom if it doesn't Tera, or goes Tera Ghost. Earth Power to threaten Torkoal, as well as be a ground hit on something in case Venusaur goes Tera Fire, or, well, I guess not so much Rotom, because Levitate, but Tera Fire Venusaur definitely makes sense. And then I threw Alluring Voice on there because it is a fairy type attack. And it will hit Walking Wake stupidly hard. So, especially if I happen to get a Torch Song boost or two beforehand. AV Skeledirge is kind of in the same boat as Raging Bolt is. Except instead of being... Raging Bolt is able to, at full health at least, be able to live a Draco Meteor. In Skeledirge's case, it's the Hydro Steam. If the sun... Even if the sun is up, I think with this investment, I can still take a Specs sun-boosted Hydro Steam, if that is the play. Ideally, without sun, that would be better, but Skeledirge can actually take a hit for Walking Wake and threaten it. So, why not go all in with that? I want to give Dolores a chance to shine, and I feel like she's actually got a really solid chance to do so in this game because of how much she threatens the Chlorophyll Mons. And can be a nuisance in general because of the AV. So, that is the team as we go ahead and flip back over to the locker room now. My team will... They've been having their fun in the sun. They've been enjoying themselves. That is going to have to come to an end soon, unfortunately, because we do have to play this game. And, well... I mean, at least I'll get a chance to play in the sun one more time, if nothing else. We will see how that goes. We will see if ShadowStitch and his sun shenanigans can threaten my team and maybe get him a win on the board, or if I can keep my winning ways going. We will find all of that out when it's battle time. Alright, it is battle time. I apologize if I sound a little tired. I did not get the best of sleep last night. It's been a hectic week, to say the least. Anyway, he has Darkrai, Torkoal, Venusaur, Walking Wake, Hatterene, and Gliscor. No Hisui and Lilligant is interesting, and neither of his other Terra captains. So that is good to note. I would not be surprised to see a potential Torkoal lead, honestly. It makes a lot of sense given this team. Or a potential Gliscor lead as well. That is also something that is on the table. I am honestly going to lead Ministar. Yeah, I feel like Ministar is my best lead here. Potentially taunt Torkoal to shut it down from setting up rocks. If he sends in Gliscor, if he leads Gliscor, we will respond. We will figure something out accordingly. We'll find a way to make it work. So, good luck, have fun, ShadowStitch. And let's have a great first battle against each other. He does in fact lead the Torkoal, which, completely fair. So, not bad right out of the gate. I get an Intimidate off. The sun goes up. And I'm just gonna taunt right out of the gate. We're not even gonna play games here. Do not want him getting up rocks. And we can respond accordingly depending on if he stays in predicting the taunt or if he wants to just figure something out from there. If he does send something else in, I can taunt it, which could be beneficial because... Okay, so Torkoal's gonna take the taunt, which... No rocks at least. That is a good thing. He did in fact go for rocks, okay. So, not a bad start for sure. And now... I know I'm physically not doing much to this thing. I do want to set a spike up. Just to get the ball rolling on that, see what he wants to do. Probably just Lava Plume me, which is absolutely fine if that's what he wants to go with. And it is indeed what he's going to go with. So... That sucks, but it is what it is. I do have a spike up. Probably going to spin that away. Or at least try to. So in response to that, I'm going to go into Dolores, actually. keep him from spinning. And then I can start going from here. Because the sun is up. The spin is not going to do anything. Alright. So the taunt is worn off, unfortunately. That is... Yeah, so rocks are definitely going up now. I don't think I can threaten this thing out in that regard. I'm still going to go ahead and Torch Song, though. Just to get the boost. And start trying to set Dolores up here, because... This could go very well for me if I play my cards right with this Skeledirge set. With the AV I've got. Because I know even with no speed investment, I outrun Torkoal, because Torkoal is slow as sin. I'm sorry you had to be on the opposite end of this, Torkoal, but... Oh, gonna switch! So no rocks. That's fine, I'll take that. And going into Wake, who is going to take Spike's damage. Photosynthesis is gonna up its speed, which, fair enough, I had a feeling that would be the case. Gonna get this Torch Song off, which does not do much, even in the sun. But I do get up to +1, so there is that. And this thing might potentially be in range of an Alluring Voice. Unless this thing... Okay. So this thing can't be modest, because I got the speed boost from Photosynthesis. Specs would not surprise me, but barring a crit, I think Dolores can actually take a Hydro Stream. And I'm willing to take advantage of that and go for a +1 Alluring Voice. Goes for the Draco! Well, Dolores definitely eats that up. Special attack is going to fall. And this Alluring Voice is going to almost kill Wake. So that knocked me down from 411 to 227. So Specs is very much a possibility on Wake. And I have a feeling the switch is coming now because there is... Yeah, I'd definitely take another Draco. Well... What would the switch be into in that case? Sun is still up, right? Yeah, Sun is still up for at least 3 more turns, so that confirms Torkoal is Heat Rock. I think I can take another Draco given that roll. So I'm willing to Torch Song up to get the +2 if he wants to switch as he Dracos again. Which Dolores once again takes. And Walking Wake, arguably the biggest issue my team had in this game, is now gone. Out comes the Venusaur, which is of absolutely no surprise to me. It is going to take Spike's damage. And honestly, Dolores would have been nice to have for this thing, but the fact that it basically 1v1'd Walking Wake is more than I could ask for. So I'm willing to let it go and fire off a Torch Song on the off chance he tries to go for a Growth, thinking I'm going to switch to Preserve this thing. Yeah, that's not happening. And that confirms Life Orb, which I am all for. So, honestly, no Hisui and Lilligant actually works out in my favor just because that makes Raging Bolt that much more dangerous. Options. I'm going into Arctic. Because, yeah, this thing is in the sun, but between the spikes and the Life Orb chip, there is no way Because Thick Fat was Mega Venusaur. Mega Venusaur does not exist in this gen. So there is absolutely no way in hell you live in Ice Shard. And even if you switch, Torkoal is probably the only thing that wants to take an Ice Shard. And I don't know if you make that switch. I mean, it's very likely, but I would rather get a huge life or a huge banded or cannot talk this morning. This is what happens when you're tired. Right, I forgot you are Tera. Tera Fire. Yep. That one was my bad. That still did a decent chunk, though. Oh, crit. That's why. And this Weather Ball definitely kills. Even with Thick Fat. Yep. That crit did not matter in the slightest. So, Sunlight is gone. So, I do have that going for me. And this Venusaur has been worn down. Honestly? The temptation to go into Wrath is very much there. And I think I'm going to do that, actually. Because I should scare this thing out. I should absolutely scare this thing out. Well, I would think he would think I'd outrun him. Which, if I set up a DD right now, that is in fact the case. If I predict the switch, I can take a Giga Drain with my spread. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and DD predicting the switch into something. Which is exactly what's gonna happen. I will gladly take that. Goes into Gliscor. Which is completely fine. I do not mind this trade-off in the slightest. There's the Toxic Orb, as expected. And... do I dare DD again? No, I'm just gonna go straight for the Ice Fang. I would rather not take the risk. Which... that was not a crit! Okay, so you were not defensive Gliscor. That is good to know, as Torkoal comes back out now. Which, it's gonna take spikes. The sun is gonna get started, which... completely fair. I'm gonna just Earthquake you. This should be a 2-shot after the spike. Oh, definitely. It just goes for the Lava Plume, which Wrath will be able to resist. No burn, so I'm free to Earthquake again. As I think Gyarados is once again in a spot where it's going to Snowball. That was not my plan. I will gladly take it because I definitely botched the Mammo play because I completely forgot that Venusaur was a Tera Captain. But Torkoal is gone. So, no rocks for him. My spike stays up. The sun is still intact. For a while, at least. As Hatterene comes in now, it does take the spike. On one hand, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Trick Room here. On the other, let's see. Because there's two ways I can play this right now, and I'm iffy on both. I could Tera Flying and go for Tera Blast, but as long as Venusaur has Chlorophyll, it could definitely... Then Weather Ball becomes a potential problem. On the other hand, I could just go for the Earthquake, which... You know what? I'm just going to Tera and go for the Tera Blast. Because, yes, Venusaur is still a problem with Tera Stab Weather Ball now. But I do still have Raging Bolt, who pretty much sponges everything it could throw at me. And Thunderclap for priority, plus the Photosynthesis boost. So I don't think Venusaur scares me as much anymore. So I can definitely make this play. That is a definite 2-shot on Hat. Who switches out with the eject button. Okay. And into Darkrai. Who I'm pretty sure dies to a Tera Blast, and I think I can take any hit he wants to throw at me. Because Wrath is bulky as hell. This is exactly why I love this Gyarados set. And that should be a dead Darkrai. Yep. And Venusaur is back out now, which... absolutely fair. He takes the Spike. 196. He definitely outruns me, and a Weather Ball definitely kills me. Do I let Wrath go to get the safe switch? Yeah, I'm going to switch into Cumulonimbus. Because I think I can actually preserve this 4-0. Which would help me in the long run, I think. And I know Cumulonimbus, especially since Photosynthesis is proc, definitely takes the... I can definitely take this. Because I'm AV. I definitely out-prioritize you with a Thunderclap. So all that remains now is Hatterene, which... I haven't seen anything from it yet, but it took a huge chunk of damage. It's going to take the Spike. I definitely outrun it, and with the Sun Boost because of Photosynthesis, a Discharge should finish this game off. So that is going to be that. So, GG, ShadowStitch. I apologize that Gyarados kind of got out of hand there, but that is what Gyarados does when I least expect it to. It just comes in and breaks things. But, I mean, this is why I had a Pseudo-Sun team when I initially had Torkoal. My team is built that it can work in Sun if I build it correctly. I may have discarded the Sun, and I do apologize to Torkoal on that, but I think we've still got a solid chance going forward, even with the team I've got, Sun or not. But once again, GG to ShadowStitch. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I have been Ruppy, and my Columbus Swoo and I will see you guys next time. Take care.